All my buckets, chicken feeders are doing well. This is probably the best year we've ever had in the garden. I think we've ironed out all the problems that we've had in the past. The new boxes are working out really well. Everything's growing like crazy. Tons of sugar peas hanging on the vines. I have more sugar peas than I know what to do with. Another box over here with sugar peas and potatoes planted in the front. We have Swiss chard and red cabbage. Some radishes just coming up from seed in the front there. Regular cabbage. We'll turn that into sauerkraut at some point, late in the summer. Over here, a box of broccoli that's in desperate need of weeding. Kale with some rhubarb in between. You can see the grass is coming up quite nicely between the boxes, as well as a whole lot of weeds, but as long as it's green, I'm happy. There's some kohlrabi. We've been picking that. That'll be in tonight's dinner. And leeks. This next box has a lot of different squash plants in it, but what's predominant are the tall plants, and those are actually icicle radishes. They've been allowed to just go wild and crazy, and as you can see, the radishes have little chew marks on them. However, the squash plants do not. So it would appear that the bugs are going for the radishes and not the squash, which to me is a big win. And that's part of why we did this companion planting. Over here we have some tomatoes. Everybody's staked up nicely. This year I really took the time to prune the bottom branches off of the tomatoes, so we allow for a lot of air to flow around the trunk of the tomato plant. Whoop, this poor guy needs to be tied up a little bit more. He's falling over. Around in this little box are sunflowers and zinnias. And these were the zinnias that froze to death with the last frost. And they are just filling out nicely. So we'll have some flowers on there in a few weeks. Lettuce. Some herbs. And more lettuce. Across the way we have a fresh batch of radishes just coming up from seed. Some garlic. More radishes. And over here another box of zinnias and sunflowers. This is the hot pepper box. Ooh, I can hardly wait for this box to be harvested. We're already starting to get some little peppers on our plants. Here we have a little pepper there. Over here, a box full of all different kinds of onions with some kohlrabi planted down the middle, and the kohlrabi is ready to be eaten. If you've never eaten kohlrabi, it tastes very much like the stem of the broccoli, the thick part. So what I do is I knock off all those leaves and I peel with a peeler. I take the outer skin off, and then I cube that into maybe 1-inch cubes. I'll take a carrot or two and I'll slice them into 1-inch segments, and then I'll oven roast the kohlrabi and the carrots together with some olive oil and a little salt and pepper. They're pretty good. Very healthy for you. A lot of good fiber. Now this is my sweet pepper box. And those plants are doing pretty well. Got some peppers hanging on right here. And this box over here is more squash in the front with, again, those icicle radishes. The back are beans. They're pole beans, and they're just now starting to work their way up the lattice. I can't wait for later in the summer after they've all climbed up. On this side of the lattice tunnel is tomatoes. Just now starting to work their way up also. I've been tying them to the metal. In front of the tomatoes we have cilantro, and on the other side basil is coming up, and then teeny weeny basil in the middle. Cucumbers in this box with, again, those icicle radishes. And the icicle radishes are getting chewed up, but the cucumbers are looking pretty good. There's Bobby. Hi, Bobby. Up in the very top we have strawberries. We've been eating a lot of strawberries out of there. I need to pick them again, as you can see. There's a lot of red there. Spinach, which is going to seed. We'll finish that up in salads this week. More strawberries. More tomatoes. Another box of tomatoes. These are all heirlooms. So there'll be multiple colors. Red, orange, yellow, green. Love heirloom tomatoes. And that's it. It's the garden at a glance. I love the HDPE boxes. Of course, this is just the first year, but I imagine next year it'll be the same. They seem to be pretty sturdy. Asparagus patches over here where Bobby is, and we're still getting asparagus every day. It's been over a month now, and we still are getting a ton of asparagus. I need to pick some again today. There's parsley planted in with the asparagus, and a bunch of weeds that need to be weeded out of there. Weeding is a never-ending job, but certainly not anything like it used to be when I had to weed all this ground in between the boxes. It's much easier to just mow it. And I think it's starting to look pretty good.